We got our commissioner with the Eagles in the background. Big week coming up for the boys.
You on a bye week.
That's why it was a big week. You guys have no chance of losing. Congratulations. Stan.
It was the strangest thing.
You won and I lost. Let's move on.
I think I won on Saturday night, but yeah, we'll move on. So for my team this week,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indecision Cave. It's your favorite episode of the week where we dive into all of the fantasy football chatter, specifically week 9 within the Indecision Cave. I'm your host, Ryan Grace, and I'm joined by 5 of my league mates. You know who we got, the man who doesn't seem to lose but always seems to win, Justin Coleman. We got our commissioner with the Eagles in the background. Big week coming up for the boys.
You on a bye week.
That's why it was a big week. You guys have no chance of losing. Congratulations. Stand packed in the NFC leagues.
Oh, big facts. Yo, Justin, I need a little bit more of your biceps, bro. There you go. Get a little bicep shot, man. You feel me?
that's crazy.
Put them your tries, bro.
100 a day, baby. 100 a day.
Before the show started, Justin's giving push-up tips on how to get your chest swole like his. Eugene, you got to poke your chest out a little bit more, bro. But thank you for joining us on the show this week.
How am I doing?
Your bird chest, man.
He's an Eagles fan, so you feel me?
No.
It just got
No. Not the Eagles chest, a bird chest.
See, that's bars. Ashton's spitting right now. I'm an Eagles fan.
You got a Pidgey chest, bro. Pidgey.
Coach Rax joining us and is not holding any punches today, man.
Never do.
And Mr. 1-6 himself, last place. Let's give it up for Joe Hall. Joe, how are you, man?
Good, man. I was going to lose last week anyway. Like I said in the last episode, actually I'm 1-7. I had to check. 1-7, so it's a little bit worse. But look, I'm looking. The future looking bright. I'm set up for next year.
There you go. And you still got that trophy over your shoulder, man. So you got bragging rights for another 6 weeks.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, I haven't forgot about that right there.
So,
I like that.
Fellas, we're gonna go around and talk a little bit about some happenings in the league. Eugene, it's good that you're here with us because we've been talking about Joe's tendencies in terms of trading on the most recent episodes. Last week he's talking about he's open for all trades. Earlier in the week we were talking about some of the deals he made, including one with Ashton. And now we're gonna throw to you because I believe you were involved in a trade with Joe this past week also. So would you mind running us through the details of that deal and talking about what you feel like you got and why you pulled the trigger on that trade?
Well, like the last 3 seasons, Joe and I are always talking more than I thought we would than when he first got into the league. Obviously, I didn't know him at that time. And it's been the same through this season. Sometimes we come to some sort of common ground, or other times we don't, and there's never nobody feels away. So we're just talking the way we normally do. And I had made an inquiry prior to, I'm the OBJ owner, prior to OBJ getting hurt. And it didn't lead to anything, but then I reached out again after OBJ got hurt because not only am I about 500 because of OBJ, but now he's on my IR. And I just need a wide receiver one. I just need one. Because I'm not getting anything out of Marvin Jones, no Michael Gallup, you know what I mean? Things aren't panning out. Thank you for Claypool. Like, he finally, leveled out some of my roster, but I really needed a WR1. So he inquired about Dallas Goedert. We're a keeper league, and I think it just made enough sense for him to want to go into the season next year with a tight end that he knows is going to get some, just catch the ball at a high volume. Ahead of time since the season doesn't seem to be panning out.
And do you feel like Allen Robinson is the answer to that number one issue? Just for the fans at home, you're 4-4 right now. You're the 7th seed. We have 6 teams that make the playoffs. You and I are tied. I beat you just by a little bit on the point differential. But do you feel like right now Allen Robinson is someone who can push you over the hump just in terms of week-by-week basis, or even when you get to the playoffs? Does that put you in a position to really make some noise?
Yes, I think I'm blessed to be at 500 right now. I was lucky and fortunate to be able to get someone to fill OBJ's shoes shortly after he got hurt. So I think based on target volume alone, I'm built to make a push right now. If I get anything out of my supplementary guys, I think my team stands a decent chance at making a run.
Let me jump in here. So normally in our trade talks, there's some back and forth, like, no, I think it's this way, and it's a lot of discussion. With this trade, did your eyes light up like, what? All I have to give up is Dallas Goedert for A-Rob too? Like, did you think I was crazy? Like, you thought I was joking? Like,
no, because we banter, we talk so much that you tend to move with tact. You know what I mean? So I didn't just want to assume I was getting over on you. What I did was try to put myself in your shoes. I'm like, what is he thinking? Like, what is he thinking? Normally, certain situations would, at least at face value, seem like a better offer. And those talks don't even get done between us sometimes, even if it might line up just right. But this one, you were a little more, boom, here's my card. What do you want to do with that, Gene? So it just made me think. But the objectivity set in. I'm handcuffed because of OBJ's injury. I had to do
it. Was it remotely a hard decision, or was it easy? Because I think Dallas Goedert would be a 12th round draft pick next year to keep him.
Save, exactly. You save. You don't have to worry about it. He's good. He's golden. As a number two, he's okay as far as tight ends go.
But it wasn't hard to let him go, is what you're saying, though.
It was bittersweet because I'm getting nothing out of my tight ends. Really. It's rushing really right with mine, so it was bittersweet.
Got you.
With that being said, like we noted last week, through at least the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season, Eugene was 0 for 6 on picking the right tight end. He's had 2 on his roster, and every single week he made the wrong decision. And now trading away Dallas Goedert. I mean, for a wide receiver that is crushing and getting a lot of the target share, I hope you don't do well, man. Honestly, I need that playoff spot, but Allen Robinson definitely improves your team a little bit. I like
where I'm at.
I'm just being honest. Rashawn, we're gonna throw to you next, because if you look at the projected score for this week, you're one of 2 teams who are projected to score over 130 points, right behind Mahan, who everybody knows, at least from a scoring standpoint, his team's a machine. You're facing Banks. He's 6-2. He's tied for first place with Justin. Do you feel good about your chances this week? What are you doing to put together a lineup that's this daunting? Do you think you have a chance at 3-5 to kind of keep your playoff hopes alive against the first place team in the league?
I like going in as the underdog. I like being the underdog. I've been talking to my guys, prepping them for the weekend. Spoke to Deontay Johnson, make sure his hamstring's all right. Kind of disappointed me past Sunday because sitting there like, 1 catch. But I think my guys will be ready for Sunday. I'm a little worried about Zeke. He's got a tough matchup against the Steelers, but everybody else, I think, they do pretty well. And I'm just going with, the best guys that I see fit. So that's, I hate to do it, but even I really wanted to bench Cam, and I want to try 2 out, but I'm gonna go with Cam against the Jets. I think he's gonna have a great game, great bounce back game. Just going to go in the weekend with my head up. Hopefully beat Banks and move up to 4-5, and Eugene or Ashton loses, so I sneak up ahead of them.
Yeah, definitely. One question that I wanted to ask you was, in the mix of all the trading that's been going on, you clearly had acquired Tua with the mindset that as an undrafted free agent, even with our league where his draft pick would be like his ADP, you're probably looking at like, I don't know, call it 9th, 10th, 11th round, right?
Yep.
Just for conversation's sake. But last week, against a good Rams defense, he was average at best, right? He didn't play particularly well. Not saying anything needs to be written in stone, but let's say he plays like this the rest of the season. Is he still someone you would consider keeping because of the future, or is this enough to say, no, let me keep 3 other guys, or let this guy go?
So I honestly believe in Tua. I think that there's not a lot of footage on him. They only have footage from, college, and I think he's gonna have a breakout game or two. I think Sunday against the Cardinals, he's gonna actually do pretty well, and I think he's gonna continue to do well for the rest of the season. I think he may have, one of those rookie games where it's like, oh damn, this guy's actually a rookie. But I also think that he has the poise, he has the confidence to be like, nah, I'm an NFL quarterback, and I'm gonna show y'all what I got.
There you go. And assuming he plays with all of those characteristics you have, he's a keeper?
He's a keeper. If he plays well enough, he's gonna be a keeper.
There you go. Justin, we're throwing to you, man. First place in the league, and you're facing our boy this week. We call him the Pack Watch, Antoine Relaford. Deli, he's been on the show a bunch of times. You're projected to beat him by about 8 points. It doesn't look like you've thrown any wrenches in your lineup yet. How do you feel going into your matchup with Antoine? And is there anything that we should sort of be worried about heading into this matchup?
I mean, before we even get to that part, I think all of you guys collectively owe me an apology for last week. But I won't ask for it right now on camera. So
Yeah, you ain't
I would
getting
never
that, bro.
apologize.
Yeah,
No
you
one's
ain't getting that from
apologizing.
Yeah, that's quite an ask.
Yeah, you ain't getting that.
Yeah.
I'm still tight about you beating me, so you'll never get that. Maybe next year? Possibly.
Nah, not even next year.
What should we be apologizing for, Jess? What happened?
for everyone picking against me in my matchup against Ryan last week. Unanimously picking against me, by the way.
What happened in that matchup?
You know what? It was the strangest thing.
You won and I lost. Let's move on.
I think I won on Saturday night, but yeah, we'll move on. Yeah, so for my team this week, my biggest concern is just replacing George Kittle. As we all saw, he's pretty much out for the season with the foot injury. So I'm glad I'm playing this week against a lesser concerned opponent, I'll say. So I'm not really worried about the matchup. So I'll take this week to find out who can I replace for my tight end.
Hope you're watching, Deli.
I mean,
Let's
be honest though. Deli got 2 players that got COVID. Well, he got 3 people on his bench that got COVID. So his bench is full of COVID players. So I mean, that helps. Just real fast, I really thought Justin was going to go after Austin Hooper, given that
the waivers
have George Kittle. Yeah, but he didn't. So I was thoroughly. That's what I thought he was going to do, but guess not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on a bye week, so he probably went over your head. But I went and scooped them up for you, so you don't have to worry about it no more.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Cerrone.
So Justin has a matchup he's not too worried about, but I'll be keeping an eye on that one, as Antoine and I are both 4-4. And so again, in our playoff seeding among the 4-4 teams, I'm the 6th seed, last seed to make the playoffs. Eugene is 7 and Antoine is 8. So I'm rooting against both of them, hoping that I can pull out a victory. And with that being said, we're going to take a commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to hit the matchup of the week, which features Ashton, who's knocking on the playoff doors, and me, who's holding on for dear life to the 6th spot within the Indecision. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indecision Cave, where this is our favorite segment as a league, where we get to talk about each other's teams a little bit in the matchup of the week. So this week, we got Ashton at 3-5, traveling to New Bedford.
Not coming here, bro.
I lied. He'll be in Windsor.
The dub.
As the New Bedford Whalers travel down Route 6 to take on the Chubs. So the storyline, ultimately, before we get into rosters, is that I'm 4-4, holding on to the 6th seed, but Ashton is 3-5. And if things go kind of the way they look, right? Justin taking care of Antoine, Joe taking care of Eugene. if Ashton finds a way to win, he jumps everyone because he's one of like the top 5 scoring teams in the league. So Ashton with a W this week pretty much puts himself square back in the playoff contention. So Ashton, how are you feeling about this matchup? And what do you have to do to get the W?
I mean, I'm feeling pretty confident. I made some trades the past 3 weeks to put my team in a position to compete and compete long-term for this season. So my goal is championship. But most importantly, first, we got to make the playoffs. And so it started last week. So thank you, Joe, for allowing me to have the opportunity to continue to compete. And now I have to go and play against Ryan, whose team seems to be on this like hot and cold streak. So I'm hoping it remains cold, as he has had the highest scoring team so far this year, I believe, if not the second most. So you never know really what you get against Ryan. But I'm thoroughly confident on my roster and my team. The only person that really scares me is Chris Carson. He doesn't practice until Friday. And so if he's a no-go, Robert Tonyan would have already played if the league continues to be ridiculous and not postpone that game. But I would have to then try to figure out if I want to start Michael Pittman Jr. or Denzel Mims. So that just makes it a little bit tough. But outside of that, I'm pretty confident my boys can push us out to a victory for sure. Hopefully, Lord willing.
My man's praying for the W. And Ashton, I'm looking at your roster, man, and this week in particular, I don't see really how I can compete, right? Dalvin Cook against Detroit in a home game. You got Russ cooking, right? So you got the Cooking brothers, Russ Cook and Dalvin Cook, just ready. Thielen and Will Fuller. Robert Tonyan against San Fran, who's depleted on all fronts. And Antonio Gibson against the Giants. I mean, your lineup is pretty stacked. One thing that anecdotally that I'm a little weary of, and I don't know if you feel this way, is that Will Fuller was on the block, and by the end of or getting close to the trade deadline, he's putting out content that's saying that sort of came off as, I'm not happy. Like, can we just get this to happen in terms of going to Green Bay? It didn't happen. Do you think in any way that could impact his performance on the field if the guy isn't happy with the Texan squad?
No, not at all. I mean, I think when you're a player kind of on the block and you're like, there's conversations on if you're going to be on a team. Give me 1 second, because my dog wants to just make all the noise in the world while I'm recording. So hold on.
I'll jump in. I think Will Fuller's on a contract year, either this year or next year, and it's all about the money, man. He can't go out there and put a stinker for personal reasons that the team didn't want him or something like that, man. It's going to be the difference between millions of dollars and how he performs. So I don't think that'll affect him at all.
Good. That's
I second that. Yeah, and I mean, he plays Jacksonville, and they haven't looked so good covering receivers this year. So I'm hoping he wants to prove a point like, hey, Green Bay, this is why you should have traded for me. And like, you want to show out at this point. Like, I'm on the trade block. Am I going to stay here or am I going to move on? I'm going to stay here. So I'm going to show the league why I'm a top-tier receiver and why I should get paid top-tier receiver dollars. So I'm hoping that's what he wants to do.
I hope you're wrong, at least for this week.
I have a question for you, though, Ryan, because normally when you match up with the week, you start off with confidence and, like, if anyone goes against you, like, you're wrong, you're going to see, like, we're going to roll over you. And this week, all of a sudden, you're humbled. Is it because you scored, like, 80-some points last week that was an eye-opener, or what happened here?
No, it's not humble. It's just like Ashton said when we were talking about Banks during the commercial break. It's about matchups, right? Like, if I have Tyler Boyd playing and if I feel more confident about Calvin Ridley playing, it's a whole different discussion, right? Like,
okay,
I don't even know how I'm rostering 6 wide receivers. Like, none of them are really that great other than my 2 great ones, right? Like, I think Boyd and Ridley from a fantasy standpoint are great. It's looking like I won't have either of them this week. The Chiefs backfield really confused the crap out of me because in the first week with both running backs, obviously Bell's first game, right, we saw he and CEH both perform pretty well. I felt confident last week that CEH was going to get the lion's share of the love. But last week, I would like to say it was just one of those Pat Mahomes being Pat Mahomes games where he's just ripping the ball, throwing it to whomever. Everybody's open. Everybody's catching everything. There's no need for them to run the ball, which then makes both of them still viable options. But he's Pat Mahomes, and he's done it for the last 3 seasons, right? Like, this is just who he is. So aside from literally, in my opinion, aside from like Kelsey and Hill, everybody else on that offense can go off or put up a dud any week, right? Like, I think Hill is always going to do his thing, and Kelsey is just amazing. So I just look at it like Kansas City now has me in a weird place. Cole Beasley, I thought was my Mr.
I had to remind you, Ryan. I told you. I saw. Huh?
Hey, what did you tell me, though?
I told you that was literally one of the worst places that Lev Bell could sign to is the Chiefs, and you thought that because they were on a great offense that you were in the clear, like that's one of the best places. I might be exaggerating your words, but you were happy that he was signing with the Chiefs. Is that correct?
Of course, I was happy that he signed with the Chiefs because I was just hoping that one of them balled out, right? Like it didn't matter. Now I have both of them on the Chiefs. Let's just have one of these guys do their thing. I didn't expect neither of them to do their thing. So when you say, oh, like that's the case, it is, but it isn't, because ultimately where I had any concern was that I went from having 3 potential starting running backs, CEH, Gurley, and Bell, to now I got a split between Bell and CEH. Hopefully one of them shines.
Well, it's really 1.5 because you never know which one to go with.
Yeah, and that's the worst. That's the worst part of it. So I mean, it's only week 3 in that system. Hoping they can figure it out, right? Like it's just giving me cause for pause when I look at Ashton's roster. Dalvin Cook is a baller. Russell Wilson's playing like the MVP right now. And he has 3 or 4 wide receivers that are strong, right? And even Damian Harris, who he's starting this week, we don't usually touch Patriots running backs, except for like maybe like a James White kind of thing. But this guy seems like he's the real deal. So now we're looking at, well, like when they had Corey Dillon got love, right? And then since then it's kind of been a committee. So we'll see. My team scares me. Gesicki, spent a lot of money on him. He put up a big goose egg last week. So we're definitely apprehensive about this matchup. Any more questions, Joe?
I was going to ask, is there a Ryan? I would love to see a Ryan trade. Is there a Ryan trade in the future?
Probably not.
That's honest, yeah.
No, because you guys have seen it, man. Like people offer me all kinds of crazy bad trades.
Anyone in this call right now?
I mean, Eugene has offered me some really bad trades in the past. I think he offered me someone whose name was like Brandon Coleman one time. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I had a wide receiver one week really ball out, like something like a 19 or 20-point performance. And it might have been like a Sammy Watkins, something like that. And so I know he's up and down. But I then came to the league. I said, guys, Sammy Watkins is available. So he's a name. He's on the Chiefs offense. And Eugene was like, Saints' 3rd wide receiver. I'll give you him. And I'm like, who is this? And that's the kind of disrespect that I hear from this league. So it's like, no, I'm not going to trade because you guys are crazy.
Just let it be known. I send cold trades in hopes to get like the discussion going. This is why I like Joe, because Joe will tear apart a trade that I send him, but there's also a chance that he'll rebuttal. Right?
Oh, yeah. I want to make a trade. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just I don't want to show you my best offer out the gate. But what tends to happen is people get offended or think I'm trying to BS them, and then the talks go to prove each other.
And that's where the hard line when it comes to trading is, do you send out a trade offer just to see? Because sometimes they're just accepting. They're like, oh, I didn't expect them to. But then there's the balance of disrespecting them. They're like, all right, this dude is crazy. Like, he must think I'm stupid.
No, and I think we all can agree with that. But I think a little bit of my fantasy thing is that, like, I pride myself on my knowledge and doing my research, right? And so I told you guys last week, like, I just hold on to my guys because it's like Marquise Brown has to figure this out, right? Hollywood Brown has to figure it out.
Not if you think Lamar Jackson is a bad quarterback and can't throw the ball.
No, he is. I don't just think that. That's factual. But it's like, yo, like if he still is getting all these air yards on his attempts, then eventually you got to catch 2 of them in a game, turn one of them into a touchdown, and now it's like, yeah, maybe it's not like a 12 catch for 140 yards, but it's like 3 catches for 90 yards and a touch. And now it's like, okay.
Let's not do that this week, though. Let him try to figure this out next week, not this week. Let him do that on your bench next week when you have Tyler Boyd.
What's the saying? It's like the squeaky wheel gets the oil or something like that. You know, when the wide receiver typically complains, you know, the coach should throw him a bone. So it could be the week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm in a position where even if this is his week, that things bounce in my favor. So I'm not excited. Our producer's reaching out to us, fellas, and I was really gonna try to avoid this part of the segment because
can we just get past it this week?
We gotta do it, baby. We gotta do it.
Ashton, I was down to go past it because I know you hate the jinx. You feel like it's a jinx.
It's real, bro. It killed me all last year. Like, there's like 3 years in a row. Every time I was on Matchup of the Week, lost. I'm like, yo, keep me out of that. Out of it.
I hear you. And I've been featured on the Matchup of the Week on this show 2 times. This is the 3rd, and I'm 0-2. And so I'm not exactly excited about this. But for the sake of you, the fans, we will give you the opportunity to look at our rosters, share your thoughts. But we're going to go around the horn real quick. Fellas, the Whalers on the road against a blistering hot Chubb. Justin.
Hey, yo.
Who do you got this week?
Well, first off, I'm surprised that both of my light-skinned brethren aren't really embracing the spotlight. So I would like you guys to embrace this time, utilize your platforms, be confident in your teams and your results. With that said, looking at both of the teams, it's pretty obvious Ashton has the upper hand on this matchup. But really being out, Tyler Boyd on a bye week, that go-off potential is kind of off for Ryan. So I'm not sure who he's going to lean on this week. And then it's just Ashton is just crafting this strength, this strong squad that's making this playoff push. So it's looking like a Chubb this week.
Looking like a Chubb. Rashawn, who are you looking at?
Looking at the matchup, just like Justin said, Ryan doesn't really have like that firepower to be like, let's make this a game. I know, CDH is going against Carolina's run defense, which is typically been suspect for the past few years. I can see him getting points. I can see you getting points there. But like, Tyler Boyd and Calvin Ridley being out, it's going to be a tough matchup. I really want both of you guys to lose, to be honest. Just being honest, because
they can get a tie. That's possible.
True.
That's so trash.
Yeah.
It should just be.
I'm on the outside looking in as well. So if you guys both lose and my team does, what they need to do, I'm back in that playoff race. But it looks like this joint is going to the dub, Chubb, Wubba Chubb.
Wow. Okay, that's 2 people. Ashton, congratulations.
Let's stop.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy
it. Enjoy it. At least you guys weren't in the toilet bowl matchup of the week. So enjoy it.
That's true.
Enjoy it.
Eugene, you're looking at these lineups, man. What do you got?
I'm looking close, man. I'm looking real close, and I'm going to go against the grain.
You don't have to do that.
I'm rolling with the Whalers, man. I'm rolling with the Whalers.
Ooh,
I know Ryan doesn't want me to roll with the Whalers, but based on the matchup specifically, don't get me wrong, Ashton's sitting kind of pretty right now, but I think this is the week that Clyde and Le'Veon tandem, I think they both scored this week for you. I think although Indianapolis plays great defense, I think for some reason, like you said, him making us think about it and tweeting and deleting, I think Marquise Brown gets at least 1 tutty this week and maybe 80 yards, something that's decent to bring it home. I think Gesicki's lined up because what is going to be Tua's best friend if he's throwing the ball? Probably his tight end. So, I mean, if he don't score or anything, I think 5 receptions for 60, I think you said pretty. I think Brady can't wait to lick his chops and get back at, that boy Drew Brees over there in New Orleans. So I think they're gonna ball out. AB is there now. I just think Brady is gonna. I think you bring it home, Ryan. I'm looking at it. Don't get me wrong, Ashton. You sitting pretty. Your matchups are not to be ignored. Dalvin's gonna feast. I think Damon Harris tears. I think he scores twice against the Jets.
So do I.
It's not looking like you're gonna. No, neither one of you are gonna run away with it. I think I'm a little biased because I want Ryan to win. I need Ashton and Rashawn both to lose this week so I can continue to separate from the pack. But I can justify looking at your lineup and saying I think you have a legitimate chance.
Let's move on from Eugene, folks. He's spewing hot garbage. Take that with a grain of salt. Joe, don't disappoint me, man. You've done it too many times this season.
So I got two reasons why I'm picking this person to win the week. One, I think he has the better roster, better lineup this week, and the second reason is he's not only a trade partner but a double trade partner. Ace, he got two former Trader Joe players in Chris Carson and Will Fuller. I'm all about win-win. I got a second-round draft pick next year, so hopefully I capitalize on that. But also hopefully he capitalizes this week and uses those two players to defeat you.
No, I agree. I hope he does too. It's going to be awesome, man. Ashton's team's ready to ball out till they fall out. Chris Carson's going to end up in the lineup. Everybody go off.
Just they're not listening to you, man. They're not basking in it.
It's all right. They'll learn eventually.
Hey, man, let me get to 500 first before I can start basking in wins. You feel me?
Maybe you will be at 500 if you're basking.
Yeah,
All I know is
you gotta trust in yourself.
All it takes is one Justin loss, and if I win this week, I'm only one game behind him. So he's talking a lot for someone who hasn't, he's 2 games above me, and I'm in 6th place. So, from 1st to 6th is only 2 games, my man.
It's all right. I heard this last week, by the way. So
He heard this last week. Oh, my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a commercial break. I don't want to dwell on this matchup any longer. It's going to break my heart to be on the outside looking in on the playoffs. So we're going to take this break. When we get back, we're going to hit you with starts and sits for week 9 within the Indecision game. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indecision Cave. And we are here for our last segment, the starts and sit, the moment you've all been waiting for, who you should and should not play in week 9. We're going to start with our guy, Eugene. And we're coming to him because he was violating in the last segment. Despite not violating, he was violating.
Love, man. That's all. Spreading the love.
So, Eugene, who are you starting and sitting in week 9?
Well, my start of the week is the easiest for me because not only is he a baller by nature, but his matchup is prime, and it's Chase Claypool. Dallas can't score. Dallas can't defend. That means the first half of the game, minimum, they're going to be airing the ball out. And at least he's just prime. Start every Pittsburgh ball catcher, and I think he'll do fine. That's where I'm at for my start.
Okay. And your sit?
This one's personal too. I own him, and he had a good week last week, and it's tempting because now he's going to have the volume. Mark Ingram is hurt, and I think Gus Edwards might be a little on the rocks too. Pretty much he got the full workload last week, and did some things. That's J.K. Dobbins. I want to sit him because of the matchup going up against Pittsburgh, and even the best running backs, have struggled against this defense, let alone the team that can't throw the ball. And the Ravens, shout out to Hollywood. Excuse me. I said Pittsburgh. They're playing Indianapolis.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's playing Indianapolis.
No,
right.
Baltimore's playing Indianapolis.
I apologize.
Right. So sit J.K. Dobbins in spite of him being thrust into their full workhorse for the time being. Tread light. Don't buy any of it.
There you go. I completely agree. Can't buy into any of the Ravens running backs right now, especially because their best one plays quarterback for the Trader Joe's. Joe, who you starting and sitting this week, man?
All right, so I'm gonna start with my sit, and a little background knowledge. We normally get some peer pressure from Ashton if we choose a sit, and it's a obvious sit situation. So I normally hear his voice when I'm making my selections. So I got somebody spicy. I got one of the best wide receivers in the league who's coming back healthy this week, Michael Thomas. Sit Michael Thomas. I'm a little sour because the time I had Michael Thomas, the one time I got to sit him this year because he was healthy for 1 week, he played against the Bucks, and he scored a smooth 4.7 points for me and played. He got hurt in the fourth quarter. But who's the corner that shouted him there, Justin?
Jamel Davis.
Okay.
I think it was Carlton Davis.
Yeah, that's him.
Davis.
So the Bucks, they're 23rd on the positive side on their defense against wide receivers. So right now, I would say, look, if you can pivot, I know you're itching to start them. I know I'm gonna regret this, but whatever, man. Sit Michael Thomas.
Hey, man, and I said it before the show started. I think Michael Thomas is someone who's gonna ball out this week. I think.
Yeah, he is, but still sit him. My start is Zack Moss. Last week I said pick up Zack Moss. He scored 10 points. And of course, when I said pick him up, he scored 20 points. If you did start him, his snap percentage has just gone up. Week 6, 26%. Week 7, 47%. Week 8, 52%. So it's on the upswing. And the last stat I'll throw for Zack Moss is inside the 5-yard line. The number one person who got the most carries last week was Dalvin Cook with 4. Tied for second place, Zack Moss with 3. So I think it's looking bright for Mr. Moss.
And Joe, why didn't you start him last week?
I don't remember. To be honest.
I said, Joe got Zack. Oh, 20 on the bench.
You didn't have to embarrass me in front of the fans.
Damn.
Got 20 on the bench. Need that love.
Who did I wait? Now let me try to clear my name. Was there an obvious good reason? No, there wasn't. Mike Davis. He only got 8 points. I wasn't going to sit him.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And Rax, if you want Mike Davis, he's
Nope, don't even talk to me. Nope, Chris McCaffrey's back. I don't want to hear it.
No. Last time you were on here, you said ankles are tricky. That's what you said, Coach Rax.
Yeah, but guess what? Chris McCaffrey's back, and Curtis Samuel is also going to be in the backfield. So I'm all set. Mike Davis touches are gone now. They're Slim Jim.
Hey, Rashawn, we're gonna stick with you, man. We know you're passionate about the Panthers, but who are you starting and sitting this week?
My sit is Mark Andrews.
Wow.
His quarterback, I forgot his name because he's no longer the MVP. He's not playing like the MVP that he once was.
Damn.
I don't trust Lamar Jackson. And they're going against a stingy Colts defense. The Colts surrendered the league low for towards tight ends for 222 yards and no touchdowns. I don't think he's going to be much of a factor in this game this Sunday. Sit Mark Andrews. My start, my guy, Cameron Jarrell Newton. I know he's been having some terrible weeks lately. COVID Cam. I think he has a bounce back game against the Jets on Monday. He's a primetime guy. He loves playing under the lights. He's going to put on a show, and he's going to have a bounce back game against the Jets. Start Cameron Jarrell Newton.
You somehow always find a way to have some kind of Panthers tie. I love it, Rashawn. I do. I love it.
Hey, listen, man. I got to pull for my team, man.
There you go, Justin. Who are you starting and sitting in Week 9?
All right, this week, I'm gonna kind of echo what Joe was saying with the Bills backfield, and I'm going to sit Devin Singletary. We're seeing the trajectory of Zack Moss going upward. One stat with Josh Allen, he's actually one of the worst quarterbacks with check down passes, and I think Devin Singletary is more effective with catching out of the backfield. So I think that'll be something going down. Zack Moss is getting a lot of goal line touches. He's getting his rhythm back. So sit Devin Singletary. My start will be Darnell Mooney from the Chicago Bears. Within his past 5 or 6 games, he's had at least 5 targets. As long as Nick Foles is there throwing the ball, I think that Mooney will be somebody that you should look out for to get you some good points. Last week he scored 2 touchdowns. I don't know what the Allen Robinson situation is with them, but Mooney has been pretty consistent, so go with him.
I like it. I'm gonna hop in real quick just to keep the Bills train going. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Shout out to my man Chris Berman. I'm starting Cole Beasley this week, fellas, and I know, as we were talking about my matchup of the week, I'm a little apprehensive, but maybe I need to chill. Not about the matchup, but about his performance. Right, 2 weeks ago he goes for 11 catches, 112 yards. In our league, that's like 22 points. Before last week, he was giving about 10 fantasy points per week. And so that's a pretty good floor to start with. He did have a really, really bad game last week, but it was partially due to the game script, I believe, right? Like we saw Zack Moss get all those goal line carries, like Joe referenced. Josh Allen only threw the ball 18 times. And when he's pretty much the third best receiver behind Diggs and John Brown, you never know what's going to happen, especially with only 18 throws to go around. This week, they're facing against Cook and Russ. The Seahawks are going to score points. They're going to score a lot of points. I think Allen's going to have to throw the ball to keep them in the game. And I think in that sort of situation, you go to a guy who eats up a lot of targets, hoping that Cole Beasley bounces back. And that's who I'm starting this week. Who I'm sitting – chill out, Ashton, chill out. Who I'm sitting this week is Amari Cooper. The Cowboys, like Eugene said, Cowboys are facing the Steelers. The Cowboys don't know who they're starting at quarterback. We saw a really rough performance by the rookie Ben DiNucci last week. They signed back Cooper Rush, who was on the team in years past. Garrett Gilbert was their backup quarterback. None of those 3 quarterbacks scare me or move the meter at all. And so I probably would shade all Cowboys wide receivers at this point. Until Andy Dalton comes back. But Amari Cooper as the number 1, we know he's going to draw the Steelers' best assignment. And so out of those 3 guys, or the 3 guys in Dallas, I'm taking Amari Cooper and I'm keeping him on my bench if I have other options.
Is it a definite that Andy Dalton isn't playing?
He has COVID. He's on the COVID list.
Oh, he's on the COVID list. Okay.
I think he's definitely out this week.
Dang, first a concussion, then got COVID.
Then COVID.
That's
Dang.
rough.
Double C.
2 C's. Ashton, take us home, man. Who do you got starting and sitting this week?
Yeah, I'm going to start with a sit, and this might be a little bit of a Joe obvious sit pick. But by any chance, does anyone know who the backup quarterback is for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Jake Luton.
There we go. Does anyone else know, though? Nah. Right. And so I'm gonna fade DJ Chark. Not only just because he has a rookie quarterback throwing him the ball, but also the person who will be on the opposite side of the ball guarding him, which is Bradley Roby. You don't really hear much about him, but he's been a pretty solid shadow guy this year. They've already played the Jacksonville Jaguars this year, and in that matchup, DJ Chark did a solid 3 reception for 16 yards with a Gardner Minshew that probably didn't have a fractured thumb. And so now you throw in a rookie quarterback. You're going to have a tough shadow matchup. I'm not trusting DJ Chark. You might as well reach out and maybe think of Chenault. He's been kind of like that plug and play, kind of that Swiss Army knife, right? He might be a good look. Justin, I know kicker's life matters, and so does Chenault's life. So I'm definitely going to see him ball out, but that's not my start of the week. My start, I'm going to go to quarterback, and it's going to be none other than the second best rookie quarterback this year, and that's going to be Justin Herbert out of Los Angeles. That man is balling, and he is a must start no matter the opponent. I mean, it's really weird because he plays well, but they still lose, but he puts up points. He's only had one game where he was where he had the teens. It was one game where he was in the teens. Every game he's thrown up 20-plus fantasy points as a quarterback, as a rookie. So
he's a baller.
He's balling. I mean, he's no Joe Burrow, but he is definitely balling out, and it's amazing to see two great rookie quarterbacks balling out. It shows well for the future of the NFL and the kind of the quarterbacks that we're seeing. A lot of them very mobile, great throwers. I'm excited to see how Tua performs as well. That should be great to see. And then next year we have one real stud, but then a potential stud as well in Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. So start Justin
Fields
Herbert.
is a stud. Justin Fields is a stud. Don't play him.
I said that.
You said potential.
I mean, he's in college still.
He's a stud. You said Trevor Lawrence is a stud. He's still in college.
He is.
Justin Fields is a stud.
Wow. I mean, he's an Ohio State quarterback, so I don't know how much I could trust that in transition to the NFL, but I digress.
Sheesh. Okay, there you go, Ashton. We like your stats and sits. I love the ode to Joe Burrow. The guy is just an animal. So is Justin Herbert. Hopefully Tua joins their ranks because I personally have a place in my heart for Tua more than the other guys. Hopefully he bounces back a little bit from last week's performance. Fellas, real quick, anything you got to say? Any trash talk? Any observations?
In Justin's we trust.
In Justin's we trust. Joe.
Thanks. Not trash talk, but just a request. Let me get my second win.
No.
Come on, E.
That little ember that you have right now, I need to stomp it.
Come on, E.
Respectfully.
I need to put the boot on it.
Mm-hmm.
I need Ashton to lose, and I need Auntie Anthony to lose.
Chill.
Once we do that, not that I can breathe easy, but my heart rate could go down a little bit. My blood pressure could go down a little bit. Right now, it's a little tense. It's tight. It's a tight race right now.
Very tense. I completely agree with you, Eugene. I'm reverse jinxing myself, just hoping for a W, man. So I know pressure's up in the indecision cave. So with that being said, folks,
hold on. I got one last thing. Is it about time we start fading Mike Evans?
Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
We're not there yet. No.
Nah, it's only halfway through the season, but
It's just a question.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you for the question.
nah, something to think about.
You mean this season specifically, or as a player?
This season.
No. Listen, Mike Evans is my guy. I'm talking about this season.
We're only halfway through.
I guess I'm a hypocrite because I definitely drafted OBJ over him.
I think we do.
We fade him. We fade him. He plays Marshawn Lattimore this week. They got a little thing going on with each other too. So I don't know if he's gonna.
And it's kind of twofold because I remember seeing a stat that Chris Godwin, his average yards of separation from corners is a lot greater than Evans. Evans has the size, but now you add a second dude and Antonio Brown who can get yards of separation. That's like Tom Brady. He has that eye. He finds an open dude. Like he's not just going to throw it to the taller receiver just because he's taller. If you got two dudes who can get open very easy, that's who you go with.
And Gronk is that, and Gronk is seeing his targets. Like Gronk is getting those touchdowns that you would usually assume would get to Mike Evans. Now it's going to Gronk. And so, do we fade Mike Evans?
I think Mike Evans gets a little frustrated that AB's here now. Now he loses. Listen, I don't care what anybody says. I know some players are all about winning, but they want their touches. They got incentives on the line.
Especially wide receivers.
They want that bonus. They want that edge of cash. I see him getting a little frustrated that he's not getting the touches that he normally does.
I mean, he already got his bread. We know that. That man cashed out.
Yeah, isn't he like tied for touchdowns leading the league?
I mean, a lot of that's not. I mean, like I said, I know we're getting salaries now, but incentives make that deal a lot better.
Speaking of incentives, Antonio Brown really did a trade-off with the deal that he had with the Raiders, going with the Buccaneers offered him. It's pennies in comparison, and I believe it's a 1-year deal, right? Right, Justin?
Yep. He's proven himself.
He is literally living with his quarterback, which it would benefit him from having a great statistical year, and it's only one ball in the offense. So good question, Ace. Good question.
I just like that somebody else besides me is talking about the Bucks. It's beautiful.
You guys are worth the chatter. After you beat the Packers, you finally made a name for yourself. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to hit the road. But we'll be back to talk Week 10 next week. Thank you for joining us within the Indecision Cave.